How you doing today, my man?
Not too bad, man. Living the dream.
Can you speak just a little bit about the preparation going into this fight?
It was good, man. Training camp is always hard. It's a little bit harder, just dealing with a lot of personal stuff. I'm just glad to be able to help people. My son, for sure, because he just showed me like the simple things in life or what more most important. I think you get these kids like all the toys in the world, but they play with the box.
What is up, fight fans? Michael Hernandez here, otherwise known as MLH Media. We're here today with the BlessUp brand, and I'm here with a very special man. Oftentimes I kind of get toted 559 this, 559 that. This is Mr. 559 to me, man. Mr. Alex Perez over there in the Flyweight division has been a long-time staple. Recently just coming off a win over there at UFC 324 over Charles Johnson. How you doing today, my man?
Not too bad, man. Living the dream.
Living the dream indeed, man. With the new UFC deal hopefully coming soon as well, right? I mean, with the performance like that, it's almost inevitable with the way that you've been running through 125.
Yeah, man. Iridium Sports takes care of all that, but good news. I got a contract, so excited for that. Blessed to have that, and ready to see what's next.
Yeah, and speaking a little bit about that last performance over here to kick off 2026, can you speak just a little bit about the preparation going into this fight and obviously the opponent, with Charles Johnson's background of having that win over Joshua Van, a lot of people were looking at this matchup pretty heavily. So how did it feel to not only get the win, but also I know this you had kind of made a ode to the fact that this training camp was a little bit harder than others.
It was good, man. Training camp is always hard. It's a little bit harder, just dealing with a lot of personal stuff. And yeah, it was one of the hardest camps I've ever had in my life. More not because of the physical stuff, but more of the mental stuff. So, just happy I got through it. Happy I had my team around me, my friends, family, wife, my son, everybody to help me get through this. Because, like I said, without them, I definitely don't know where I'd be. Just I was excited, excited to put a performance like that. Excited, I didn't know if I was gonna get a new contract or not, but I was excited to go out there and show that I still belong in the division. Not in the division, but in the UFC. So I was excited for that.
Speaking a little bit about just the overall contract and being able to get back on the UFC, I mean, pretty big deal in town. Paramount's the quote unquote new man on campus, and it's a pretty big, crazy change to go ahead and see everything. UFC, Paramount, obviously a huge deal being in place with all of that. How has that been to, not only come in, get that big win, but did you feel like you kind of grown a new fan base with all the new eyes that were kind of on the sport this last Saturday? I had to feel pretty good, especially with you. I would say you're kind of one of those guys that has been a pioneer at the flyweight weight class.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of new audience because obviously it's on Paramount now. It's a lot cheaper, so you don't have to buy the pay per view, or 20 different Fight Pass and ESPN Plus and all this stuff. So it's pretty cool. I'm glad that I was on the first card. I got a lot of eyes on me and stuff like that. Just excited to like grow my own personal brand, and yeah, see where that takes us.
Speaking a little bit about that personal brand, speaking a little bit about yourself, I know you have quite developed the overall branding of being a coach over there at the UFC PI, and I feel like you have really kind of developed into this almost not only fighter but kind of mentor role. Can you kind of speak about that a little bit and what it's been like to not only going and doing that, but also going and applying it in the cage on this past Saturday? I had to feel pretty good seeing it all come together, right?
Yeah, it's always good. I started coaching when I was young. I used to train with Team Ochoa under Mito Morales, and I started coaching there. I coach high school, youth wrestling, high school wrestling, all in between. So I love coaching. I love helping people succeed and get to where they want to be. Um, so it's always good that when I can, speak about it and tell my the fighters I'm coaching and helping out to do it, and then I can go out there and do it myself. It's always like, okay, see, this guy does know what he's talking about. So it's always cool to do that. I'm blessed that I get an opportunity to coach some of the best guys in the world and to be a part of their camps and do whatever I gotta do for them, help them out. So I'm glad. I'm just glad to be able to help people.
Yeah, no, and helping people I would say you are definitely much a very big advocate as well for your home base area, still being over here in the Central Valley, still having quite the following over here. Speaking about that MMA following, I would say the MMA scene has kind of quite blown up since you have last been over here on the scene in the 559 fighting. And how has that been to kind of see it, not only from the outside in, but you're getting to see 559 fights just grow. Now it's on UFC Fight Pass. Possibly been rumors of Tachi Palace fights, a place where you were pretty famous and pretty well known, coming back. I mean, it's got to feel pretty good going back home and still seeing the sport of MMA growing quite fruitfully, right?
Yeah, the Central Valley's been home to the MMA long before anybody ever knows. WEC was originated there with Reed. And then, obviously the Zuffa bought them. Then you had PFC, and then you had Tachi Paz fights, and then they went away. And then 559 fights came. People don't know, but I used to be the cage crew for 559 fights. I was there from the very first show. I think up to almost our 50th show, I was the cage crew, and I was fighting at the same time. So it's always super cool to see where these shows are coming from and how they've been. Now I think the very first fight we had was 559 fights was at the Hanford Fairgrounds. Rashad Evans versus John Jones. And then I remember when we evolved and got the small cage, and we did it at I forget the club name in Fresno, but that was like the first show on Fox, when it was Cain Velasquez Jr. Dos Santos, where Junior knocked out Cain in the first round.
Was it the
like
Rainbow
now,
Ballroom?
maybe I can't remember.
Maybe.
I can't remember what it was, but watching that show grow to what it is, Jeremy's done a great job of building up great talent, because a lot of UFC vets have actually fought fights. You have about at least 4 or 5 guys that have fought for Jeremy and won the title and stuff and made it to UFC. Joseph Morales, like he fought there back in the day. You have a couple other guys that fought through there that made it to UFC, but that's the one because he's in my division and he just won the Ultimate Fighter. So he's one of the guys that I've seen go that program, basically end up, now they're doing pro-am shows. Eagle Mountain, that's huge, like I'm super happy for Jeremy and I know all the work he puts in. And then, I seen Jacob Jeff post about, Touch Pies fights coming back. That's cool. More fights in California, the better it is for us. Started fighting, I fought all the way from Lemoore, Turlock, Sacramento, Santa Monica to San Diego, anywhere in between. I was fighting up and down the state, Now there's not that many shows, so you can't fight. I fought for up-and-comers, Tachi Palace, Syndicate, West Coast Fighting Championships. I fought for, I forget the other one. There's another show I fought for. So the more pro shows we get in California, the better it is.
No, 100%. And you kind of led perfectly into my next question. I was actually just about to talk about the fact that you do have 2 fellow 559 fights veterans in not only Joseph Morales, but also Terrence Saturn. Is that kind of cool as well to kind of see that development, to kind of see oh man, I'm starting to see guys that I used to open the cage door for, go and watch them be fighting as amateurs. Now they're making it over here to the UFC.
Yeah, it's cool. It's super cool. Like I said, I wish them all nothing but the best. A person following your dreams, and hopefully you make it. And you're not guaranteed to make it to UFC, so you're just, like I said, seeing those guys make it, shows a lot about them, because I know a little bit about what they've been through. We obviously been different roads, but it's still a lot of the same stuff we've been through.
And then speaking a little bit just more about the 559, you were not the only 559 resident to get a win on the UFC 324 card. Josh Hokett also was a guy that got a win. Did you guys both know that you guys were from Fresno, kind of Central Valley area? Was that at all spoken about? Did you guys at all get any interaction?
So I actually coached against Josh Hokett because I used to coach at Selma, and he actually wrestled at Wasco, and then he moved over to Clovis.
Crazy.
Yeah, so we talked about it. I was like, yeah, man, I remember you and your brothers. I was like, yeah, Clovis. Like, no. I remember when you guys were back in Wasco, man. He just laughs like, oh, you're old school. I was like, yeah, man. I coached these guys, Jace Lucha knows them. They wrestled together at Fresno State. So it's cool. I'm happy for him that he's making it. That kid's an athlete. All-American in football, All-American in wrestling. Even though it's practice squad, he played for the NFL. That's a big thing. And then he jumped over to MMA, and he's killing it. So I'm glad that, he's killing in the MMA world. Come in from the 559, the better.
No, I'm exactly the same way. Either media, either through the fighting world, either through any way. It is absolutely amazing to go ahead and see us people over here in the Central Valley from the world's fruit basket really going and making it into the world's finest art in mixed martial arts. I always think it's quite cool as well. Speaking a little bit more about not only 559, I know that we've been talking a lot about the home area, but about yourself, man. I know that this win also meant a lot for you because, not only was it a big contract, not only was there a lot in the lead up, but you got to reestablish your name in this flyweight division and kind of moving forward. Big win against Charles Johnson. Is there any names that are possibly on the teeter oh man, that would be a good one that I want to go ahead and get in the cage looking into 2026?
I want to fight up in the rankings. I'm looking at the Amir fight and against Harguchi fight. Those guys are ranked above me. Those guys are the ones. I want to take some time off, honestly, to focus on my son. His birthday's next week. We're celebrating his birthday on Saturday. I want to do that and, just kind of enjoy some time, hang out with my family, and then get trained to get better. I went from camp to camp. I improved a little bit, but not as much as I should have. right? So I want to just improve, get better, and then you know, whatever the UFC wants. But I'm looking at the Amir fight and Harguchi fight very closely. You know, we're fighting pretty close around the same time, so might be a good chance I can get them at the end of June, maybe beginning of July, International Fight Week, you know, something like that. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm just ready to get back in, start training. I just got an X-ray on my hand. My hand was a little banged up on my foot, but I'm hoping everything's good. Take some few days off and then get back to the gym and just start growing again, you know, as a martial artist.
I know you made a mention your son's birthday. His theme. What's he got going on? Is there Sonic?
Beyblades.
What's
Beyblades.
Beyblades?
Yeah, Blades made a
Interesting.
comeback. So Beyblades, yeah, he loves Blades. He likes anything, monster trucks, Blades, you name it. But he's really, really, really like into Blades right now. So we got him a cake. My wife's getting all the decorations. They're hard to find. You know, because the Beyblades are, you know, aren't the most popular right now. But yeah, they're hard to find. So we're trying to get everything ready. Like I said, we're just ready to enjoy some time, some family time.
Man, if you would have told me 10 years ago, I could have contacted my brother and he probably would have had like a whole box full and we could have been the best of friends, Alex. But no, that's absolutely awesome. It's almost pretty cool too because Beyblades, they like, it's almost like a little octagon that they kind of let it
Yeah,
rip into, right? Yeah, so
yeah, yeah.
he's
He
letting
has
it
all
rip in
that.
there. You're letting it
He's
rip in
already
the
in that.
cage.
He loves it.
That's absolutely awesome, man. And just speaking a little bit more about your cage experience, I know you were speaking that you worked for 559. What was the best story that you were like, you know what, man? Like I will always remember this event or this singular moment. Cage door ever fly open on you? I know you wouldn't ever allow that to happen, but was there any other
No,
crazy moments that happened?
so like I mean they're all good. Just always taught me like, man, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, you know. So I better get my ass moving. Because putting that cage up is like the old cage was very hard to put up. I don't know about the new one now that they have, but the old one was very hard to put up. And then we came with no direction, so we had to figure it out. It was crazy. Jeremy was out there
Oh,
working.
are you serious?
Yeah, it came with no directions. You kind of just had to puzzle it, and it was
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
So after we got that down, you know, but every show I prayed to God, like, please do not fall apart, do not break something, do not like the cage fall apart. Like I would pray, like after the first three fights, I'm like, okay, we're good. You know, it was always scary when you had like a guy, Josh Powell, big old heavyweight, right? And he would hit the cage, and you see the cage kind of move a little bit, like, oh man, like no, like all we need is that cage door to open. So I was like, or cage thing to open. But like I always prayed for the first three fights, and after that, I was like, okay, we're smooth sailing, you know, from here on out.
It's so funny to me that people don't know that like the cage has to get tested before each fight. You
Yeah.
know, like they have to commission has to come in and do all that stuff. And people have
What's
asked me before, like, what do they do? And I'm like, dude, they literally like they'll bounce off the cage. They check the bolts. They do. It's crazy, man. It's crazy to see
one
how
guy?
much the
One
sport has
guy.
developed.
One guy would run from the other side of the cage to the other, like bang. And I'm like,
Yes,
bro,
yeah.
I'm like, bro, like let's be real. Who's really gonna do that? Like he would a running start, head start. I'm like, even if I take a shot, it shouldn't be from that side to this side. But I'm like, whatever, do what you have to do. But he would just run. I'm like, oh my god. I would like pray, like, please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. You know, like it was bad.
No, and I always think the same thing. I'm like, imagine if it does just all just fall apart right now, and we're
I was
just
getting
like,
scared.
oh my gosh.
I always prayed for the first three fights. I'm like, oh please, please, Jeremy, I'll be stressed. Jeremy be stressed, and okay, we're like, all right, we're good.
Giving you that look over there. Is there any chance we're gonna see you at any 559 fights in the future? I know you're a very busy man between coaching, between the kids, between just everything in general. But is there any chance we're
Yeah,
gonna get to see
yeah,
you at any shows
yeah. Well,
coming up?
probably, you know, Jeremy, he was talking about bringing me out for this last one, but obviously I was in fight camp. But maybe the one in March. You know, I always love going to support local talent. You know, like I'm not a big name whatsoever, but like I love watching these guys. Like I love watching the passion them grow. You know, and I still have deep roots with Team Ochoa. You know, Mito and Jacob. So I always like to go out there and watch those guys. You know, I know a lot of guys that I used to fight. Like Darren Chris has his own gym now. You know, Mark and all those guys have their own gym. So I always just like to see the talent that's being developed and. You know, I like to show them that, hey, like, I was a kid in your position. I fought amateur 3 times. And I'm from the Central Valley. I've drank the same shit water you guys drank. I fucking ran in the same fields. Well, you know, I did all this
Breathe the
other
same
stuff.
valley air.
Yeah,
Like
you
you
know,
did it
everything
all.
you guys did, I've did. And it's possible to make it out of there. So I always love going to support the local talent.
One thing I do admire about you, Alex, is although you did make it out, you still are always contributing. You're still always coming back. You're still always showing love. So just so I had to give you your flowers for that, man, because it does take a real one to go ahead and do that. Just for this last kind of question here. I know in the cage interview as well, you had a lot of people to thank. You mentioned Tyler Wombles, you mentioned your coach Colin Oyama, who's kind of been one of the OG guys that has been beside you. Was there anybody else that you really wanted to thank for, I mean, just in general, this upheaval of kind of, I mean, Alex Perez, the decision, man, coming into 2026 with a absolute banging KO, man. I just love it, man, because I was telling all the people I was watching it with, and like, oh yeah, like Alex, like, yeah, it's dictates the decision. Everyone's, and then you just go out there and get the KO, and I was like, dude, he's hell yeah, man, like, awesome.
Nah, man, there's a lot of people to thank. Like, one, my wife for sure, because, training camps are not easy. She was in the sauna with me when I was trying to cut. I miss weight. Sometimes your body just doesn't do it. But she was in the sauna with me. She was in the hot tub. She was trying to, like, she was pushing me to every limit I can do, and, even, she's a physical therapist. So after training, like, after she works 10-hour days, So she'll come home, like, hey, how's your body feeling? Do you need this? Give me, like, she'll work on me, body work, stuff like that, make sure I was on my stuff every morning. Make sure you text me, tell me like, hey, I'm proud of you. Keep up the good work. Like you got this. I know today's not the best day, like training wise you've had, or yesterday was. She always encourage me. My son for sure, because he just showed me like the simple things in life or what most important. I think you get these kids like all the toys in the world, but they play with the box. He made sure to make the simple things are the things that make you the happiest. It doesn't matter about a lot of this other materialistic stuff. He played with his damn boxes that he had for Christmas longer than he played with his damn toys. So like seeing him reminded me like all the little things, the little joy in things, going for walks, playing t-ball in the backyard, playing with the dog. Yeah, how much he enjoy that stuff. Like, oh man, like these are the things that really matter, not everything else. My family always keeps it 100, talks smack, but always supportive. All my training partners, the ones in California and the ones here in Las Vegas, obviously couldn't do without them. And the coaching staff is just ridiculous. Colin Oyama, OG, like he's helped me. He's been with me for a long time. You got Tyler Wambos, you got Matez Nakash, you got Jason Manley, Jiva Santana, Ron Turner. And then you got, of course, the OGs, Mito Morales and Jacob Jeff. Like without those guys, I wouldn't be here. I owe a lot to all those guys because they all believed in me more than I believe in myself. And then obviously my agency, Iridium Sports. I've known Jeremy since I was 14 years old. I coached Jace when he was 4 years old. He's coaching my son now in wrestling, So it's like a full circle moment. Jason House, I've known since I was 18 years old. He's watched me grow up from a kid to become a man, the man I am today. He's helped develop me and a lot of my habits and stuff like that. Without those guys, I wouldn't be there. Jacob Parga, Drew, and Lance, like all those guys, like just freaking phenomenal support system, just always working. And then the UFC PI staff from top to bottom, from the time they open that gate for me to the time I leave, they're always on top of it for helping, always making sure I'm taken care of, always, and they put up a lot of my bullshit because, that I like to bullshit a lot, but, they're great people from the front desk to the PT to strength and conditioning to calf staff, to everybody in that building from top to bottom. They're amazing human beings, and I literally cannot have done all this without them because, I mean, they're, like I do a lot of the work, but they do a lot of the behind the scene work a lot of people don't see, and definitely without them, it would not be possible.
A true man through and through, thanking all his people, man. Really got to love it when somebody just I mean, even down to the PI, man. Kudos to you, man, because there's not a lot of people that are recognizing that and showing love to those people. And they definitely put in a lot of work for you athletes. So that's very gracious for you to go ahead and give them their kudos and give them their love. Well, Mr. Alex Perez, that is going to be it from me over here in my lovely studio over here in the 559, speaking to the man himself, Mr. Alex Perez, hailing from Lemoore, California. Absolute pleasure to get to speak to you, Dave.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.